Friday. I know hockey's a big thing today, but I want to do this live. I had a day off, and I want to go through some explosive truth here with the Communist Party of Canada. Digital currency, it's now going to be Canada. We're there. Bank of Canada is getting set to switch into that narrative. And Canadians, yes, we are going into digital currency. That's the Bank of Canada, sponsored by none other than Justin Trudeau, and in fact, voted forward by none other than Pierre Poilievre and Maxime Bernier. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to add Maxime Bernier's name to that list. I had an interesting phone call with the Conservative MP, resigned, and the riding's up for grabs. Andrew Scheer, Maxime Bernier going at it on social media. But I got right from the source, folks, and I'm going to tell you again. I'm going to tell you all again. The initial voters for digital currency in Canada, under one, former Prime Minister Stephen Harper. Yes, just like everything else. Pierre Poilievre, Privy Council, Maxime Bernier, Privy Council. I have all the gold sold in massive quantity all through Stephen Harper's reign. All through it, folks. We moved away from gold. And do you want to know what Mr. Economist Stephen Harper told everybody about switching off of having anything to do with the Canadian gold reserve? When I say anything to do with, I mean zero, folks. Zero. Mine more gold than most countries, pound for pound, meaning for every Canadian out there, less than 40 million of you. Less than 40 million of you. You're fourth largest gold miners in the entire world, and you got none. You got none. More than that, we're switching to digital currency, and I'm going to tell you the historical Conservative narrative on digital currency as they voted it through and what they did with gold and why they said it's a great idea. You ready? Because it's better to invest in American money, back our reserves up, and in American coin than gold. That was what they said was a great idea. That's what they said. We're not a nation. We're Canada, the colonial nightmare. The throwaway from the 1800s that was made illegal in 1945. And you know what, Canadians? Since that day and onward through the 50s, King George VI tried to end Canada's evil. He tried. He made a promise to the Allies, but he died before it could be done. Illegally, the Conservatives and Liberals picked it up, took the crown for themselves, cemented Canada's own crown. Anyone who wants to know, it was done in 57 exclusively. It's all over your passports. You're learning about it today, just this week. But folks, when that crown was stolen by the Liberals and Conservatives, 1952 and onward through 1956, you got rid of the Jay Treaty. 1957, they administered the Canadian crown on your passports, on your money. It's on the police. It's on the military. It's on the crest of Parliament. And it goes on and on and on. Their design, their crown, their evil. But it's illegal in the world today. So you know what USA said? You want to F around, Canada? You want to be a country that doesn't follow the UN? You want to be your own autocrats? You're going to pay us. You're going to pay us, and we'll let you go on. And they do. And that is the sad reality. Today with the Democrats, as it's always been, the Conservatives and Liberals and every other MP you elect, never mind all the Crown appointments, they swear to it, they live by it, they destroy each and every one of you. Those who kiss butt, there's enough life rafts and some people make money, but many, many don't. The cost of living gets worse and worse. We threw away all of our gold reserves during Harper. Trudeau finished it off. He continues on. Now we're switching to digital currency. It is coming. Announced by the Bank of Canada just 24 hours ago. The same excuse they narrated as a crown appointment to the Prime Minister as they narrated with the crown appointment of Prime Minister then with Stephen Harper, they're doing today with Trudeau. We don't have an independent central bank. We have a crown bank institution where you, the slaves, put all your money into it and they decide how that's going to go globally, which is always at your detriment. If you think Maxime Bernier's with you, sorry, sad mistake. He voted for it. He voted for it when he was a Privy Council member. Dead to rights, got CSIS, got all of it, got the Bank of Canada. Now, while we're on to CSIS, Communist Party of Canada has been around since the 20s, folks, 1921. Set up shop, been here forever. I dealt with it all through my politics and my political ramblings throughout the last 20 years. Being in Edmonton, Alberta, home to the party itself, as well as the provincial Marxist-Leninists. They've been there forever and a day. A very old party, very old. It goes Liberals, it goes Conservatives, it goes the Communist Party of Canada. They're that old, folks. They're the third oldest party in Canada, federally. Without a doubt. Been there forever and a day. So what happened? My friend Don, I say rock on, I think it's Roshan, but I like Don rock on. That's going to work for me. And Don, when you see it, you can correct me, but I think it's Roshan, but I'm going to say rock on. I like how it's spelt and I like how it sounds. So Don shares with me last year CPC, Communist Party of Canada's report on CSIS, this evil entity bringing back McCarthyism, and they're there to destroy Canada and the people, and they're going to lock up leftists, and it's all evil, evil, evil. The Communist Party of Canada isn't really communist. They're crown socialists, divine civil law socialists. Always, forever and a day. They've been around with the Conservatives and Liberals forever. To put it in perspective, Stephen Harper gave the abbreviation Conservative Party of Canada. It's Communist Party of Canada. They share the same exact capital letters for their abbreviation. And in fact, the Communist Party of Canada has it first. So folks, you ready for this? In federal law in Canada, you can't run a Communist Party candidate or a Conservative Party of Canada candidate together on the same election cycle. You get it now, right? The Conservatives took the 3-letter logo, got it registered, and the Communist Party of Canada will never run a candidate ever in a Canadian election where a Conservative's running. Totally in bed. I have a letter from Elections Canada. My initial letters were CCP, capital C, small p. Now, in world academia, if you go into any other country in the world besides Canada, especially the United States, when you say big C, little c, that's constitutionalism. That means codified and unwritten constitutional laws. And Americans love it, know it, swear by it. Everyone loves it. A year and a half ago, and I still have the letter, anyone wants to know, the CPC, then under Aaron O'Toole, Justin Trudeau, leader of the Liberal Party of Canada, Jagmeet Singh, leader of New Democrat Party, Maxime Bernier, leader of the People's Party of Canada, and the leader, Elizabeth, of the the Communist Party of Canada, all wrote to Elections Canada, said, I can't use upper and lower case in my abbreviation. I am not allowed to run the big C, little c constitutionalism in Canada. It has to be capitalized for the communist logo and symbol based out of First China. That's what they all voted for, and that is the letter I got back from Elections Canada. I have all the leaders' votes voting me down for the initial big C, little p logo and abbreviation for any elections our party, and to register our party as the Canadian Constitutionalists Party. But now it's Party of the Canadian Constitutionalists. We're good with that. And when you change it to French, it isn't PCC like the communists. But that was done by all parties in Canada. Now, McCarthyism, folks. In the 40s, after World War II, there was a big wave of McCarthyism where they said we have to go after all the communists. Even Richard Nixon fell for this, and it cost him big time. He got caught wiretapping. We all know Watergate, looking for communists and the Democrats, and there weren't any. And he got busted. He got put down. He ended up having to be the first president in the history of the United States to resign for breaking the law. Folks, McCarthyism, Nixon's Watergate, the Communist Party of Canada, it was never communist to begin with. Even though they call themselves communists, they're not communists. To be communist, you only have one class of people. You have no private property or very limited private property. It's a one-size-fits-all with a central pole in the middle, like a high-rise or a flagpole sticking out of the ground in a big circle. And that's your populace. Flat. Everyone makes the same regardless. Very limited private property, if any at all. And the central government, those elected and massively appointed, have all the wealth, most of it. That's communism. They become pigs at the trough. Now, Canada and the Canadian Communist Party isn't that. They're crown sworn. They're bound in the same British system. So what does that mean? It means class structure. CSIS is appointed. CSIS didn't go after Justin Trudeau and election fraud. They don't work for the Conservatives. They work for the Prime Minister of Canada, which is Justin Trudeau. They are the Central Intelligence Agency equivalent for Canada, except for they're bound to Crown, folks. They're bound to the Crown, meaning they have to obey no matter what. They can't arrest anybody. They can't do anything. They can only publish the truth. They can't act on it. They're arm-barred. They're sworn in allegiance to the Crown, and they're also Crown appointed. And they swear an oath of allegiance, and that is what holds them in their position. They can't arrest their oath sworn where they're breaching their oath. Do you get it now? So the Communist Party of Canada, and that publication and McCarthyism on their webpage in 2022, total BS. I hope you find that well done. I hope people share this. We're moving to digital currency. We've been going that way for a very, very long time. We got rid of all our gold reserves. I'm going to say it again. Stephen Harper, who was his privy council, who voted for that? It was Maxime Bernier and Pierre Poilievre, two high-ranking at the time, one national defense, the other Secretary of State. Think about that, the equivalent of Secretary of State under Prime Minister Harper. Pierre Poilievre and Maxime Bernier, two of the most tremendous ministries in Canada. And they voted for it, folks. Trudeau is now enacting part 2. He got rid of all the gold reserves now that we don't have any gold left. And I mean zero. Fourth largest producers, we have zero gold. And for all those who think that the Crown doesn't cost a tremendous amount of money, it most certainly does in our massive trade deficit. So I just went through gold in the world. For these people, right, left, in between, they're all institutionalized. In real economics, worldwide, every country analyzed. I've been at it for 4 weeks on all your primary resources, Canadians. Your gold, the cost to extract your gold is almost the same as Peru. USA way higher. South Africa costs almost twice as much in production costs and extraction of gold than Canada's gold. And they're still extracting a lot of gold out of South Africa, but they're not allowed to give pennies on the dollar. Peru, which we are just a little bit more costly in Peru. And folks, there are 7 in all primary industries of resources. There are 7 markers. And one of those markers is labor. Labor, when added with everything else, is a minute factor. So we look at Peru and we look at Canada. Canada is about $50 an ounce more than Peru. Peru's wages are 4 times less, meaning all of the labor added together was a drop in the bucket. Drop in the bucket. It had nothing to do with the costs, everything to do with our harsh winter climates. This goes for most of our mining operations. We have the lowest royalty rates in the world. Why? So that the Crown can exploit. And those that know that we're legally running the system of the Crown can exploit too. Otherwise, they will have the Crown removed in Canada because it's against international law. It always has been. There was a promise by King George VI again. 1952, he died while he was in the middle of changing Canada around. He got rid of all the UK out of all of our Crown appointments. They're all gone now. The problem is he died before he could amend the Constitutional Acts of Canada. And from there, they picked up the Crown. You will find the greatest fraud with our Supreme Court of Canada just down from the Privy Council House, their secret commons, the house above the house. You'll find the Supreme Court was made in 1946. However, Elizabeth II, Queen Elizabeth II, stamped the court post-1952 after the death of King George VI. Here's the problem with the stamp and the commemoration of King George VI, her father. He was alive when the courthouse was built, folks. I proved it already. It's on my timeline. I took a picture of the second layer block. That was chiseled in after, 6 years after the court was in operation. It's a fraud, like so much the Crown does, to manipulate, to trick. We had an independent judiciary for only 6 years, folks. 1946 to 1952. Queen Elizabeth was not queen in 46 when they built and finished the Supreme Court. It ran for 6 years, folks. She could not have chiseled the brand, the stamp on the construction of the Supreme Court in 1946 as Queen Elizabeth II. She was still a princess. Her father, King George VI, was still king. He would still be king for 6 more years. We've been screwed, manipulated, lied to. Everyone keeps saying we're going communist. We've always had that attachment. Not full communist. It's always been embedded with our British system here. The third oldest, largest party in Canada, longest running, third longest running party, Communist Party of Canada, sworn to the Crown in absolutely a pyramid scheme design. That's how they're designed. They're not capable of being communists. They have the same abbreviation in caps as the Conservative Party of Canada. So they can't run any candidates with the Conservative Party of Canada. Who's in bed with who? Liberals are in bed with them. NDP's in bed with them. Conservative Party of Canada is in bed with them. Why? Because they're all one Crown. The Communist Party of Canada swore the same oath as all the other evildoers did. There is no other variations left and right. They have special interests that they harvest monies from as first-class citizens. But I promise you, folks, CSIS isn't some independent organization running amok and going after politicians. It's against their oath. It's against the law. And they'll tell you this themselves. They can't do anything unless their Crown above them tells them to. And Prime Minister's not going to arrest Prime Minister. Prime Minister's not even going to order arrests of politicians in the other parties. They're all pigs at the trough. I hope everybody shares this. Everything I laid out in this video is easily searched. It's easily harvested from the government websites, from Historical Elections Canada data. It's harvestable in all publications and worldwide resources. It's with the World Trade Organization, World Mining Organization, World Bank, all of it. They have all the data. Every economist in the world agrees with me on everything I've said to get them to say it. As a Canadian, they won't say it, but you'll never find anyone to dispute anything I laid out in this video. It's explosive, it's huge, and you can't find a single person to dispute anything I've said. Canadians, your resources are being harvested for the absolute epitome of the lowest value in the world. You've replaced South Africa for a number of years as the next exploited world of people. Who are you? Subjects and savages, just like the South Africans and their defined black savages during apartheid. It all ended in 93. South Africa moved on. They're moving on and they're growing. They're getting stronger. People say they're not. Well, that's just propaganda. Go look at the returns. Look how much they're making. Do you see anybody pulling up stakes? Nope. Same companies, same people, doubling their money. But in Canada, they're quadrupling or even 10 times the money harvested. All easily done through the corruption of the Crown. We are our own crown, based off the British system. We keep the ties to the royal family, so we secure UK's veto to protect our filthy, corrupt, lying, cheating politicians who are absolutely the entirety of all federal parties, the entirety of all provincial parties, and it will never end. They can call themselves communist, they can call themselves Freedom Party, they can call themselves conservative, liberal, NDP. They will never, ever be any of those definitions except for crown, colonial, first, second, third class. You, the filthy subjects, you, the dirty savages, to be liquidated, destroyed, or assimilated. And it will go on forever, and it will never change unless we change it. And how are we going to do that? Party of the Canadian Constitutionalists. There may be more. I'm going to give some things I've learned today. A certain federal MP of the past, a friend of mine for a number of years, disclosed some things to me, and I may have as much as 8 ridings coming, 6 provinces possibly in by-elections. Don't know for sure. They could prorogue for those by-elections earlier, but it could all be done by next summer, which means we'd be running candidates in 6 provinces, upwards of 8. And I'll go into more detail on that. I don't have all of it. I got to wait and see. Please share. Get the video out there, everybody. Beautiful day in McMurray. I came into town, took the shuttle bus, and I got to cab it back. But checking in on my health, everything's very good. And I was kind of wondering if I was starting to get arthritis in my knees, but don't have that. Got blood works, got the rest of it. No disease. So I guess I'll find out when I get back to Edmonton. I'm going to go see a chiropractor, Dr. Sabo, and see what's going on with my joints, because it's not disease and it's not anything damaged that's visible thus far. So I guess we'll find out. Thanks, everybody. Share. Get the video out there. It's huge. It's explosive. It's important for people to know. Bye now.